Well, the weekend just started right now for me, so I say let's review Ring of Honor at Major League Wrestling, NXT UK, 205 Live, and of course, New Japan Strong, but also throw in some news updates that took place this past week. So, let's get started with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with the latest Ring of Honor event that took place. Now, they did not show this in the previous episode of the show where what happened in the fallout after when Kenny King betrayed his so-called little brother. I'm talking about Shane Taylor, someone that he actually knew and trusted and battled with. Turns out Kenny King betrayed him this time, gave him his explanation telling him that he still has a lot to learn. But of course, he praises the current Ring of Honor champion, world champion. I'm talking about El Toro Blanco Rouge. So he gave his little statement alongside his dad, giving the word, telling everyone on notice that they will destroy anybody that comes in his way. Doesn't matter who you're from, if you're with the foundation or Shane Taylor Promotions or any faction. It doesn't make no difference for him. But he does state it all the time. Nothing happens without him saying so. So I thought it was a pretty good promo. I like it. It was like he is warning everyone. But the real question, who does have the capacity to dethrone Rush? That's one of the things. But however, it did state it put out in this particular episode of Ring of Honor, well, there's a four-way match to determine who will be the number one contender to face Rush in the anniversary show. So, but we'll get to that. But first match, we got a pure rules match between Josh Woods and Dalton Castle. Now, I would have not expected Dalton Castle to come back because, as you know, he was released from the company. Oh, actually, he was no longer signed. I don't think he re-signed with the company or whatever the story is. But he actually demanded this kind of a rematch against Josh Woods because he lost to him in a previous match, also a pure rules match. Now, I was thinking in the back of my head, like any other fan would think, okay, he's gonna lose again to a guy like Josh Woods. No, yeah, to Josh Woods. But however, it didn't go exactly like that. Dalton Castle acted like he was hurt. He actually played Josh Woods. So he won the match, which was, I don't know how the foundation would see it because I know they've been trying to make the Ring of Honor be something different, like bring the pure wrestling match stuff. But however, in post match, Josh Woods received a little visit from someone we haven't seen for quite some time. I'm talking about Silas Young. So basically, Silas Young was trying to give him a little tough love, that sort of thing. It was pretty interesting. But he did state that they should be on the hunt for the tag team titles, which is kind of interesting. But I wish Silas could realize, okay, you're dealing with La Facción. Don't you remember? You're gonna face the little brother, the man who you complain about saying he was doing things he's not supposed to. Yeah, you're gonna be facing him too. But however, I don't know if there's any other challenger who wants to face the current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, Kenny King and Dragon Lee. But we'll just wait and see what we get there. Now, the main event was a four-way number one contendership match for the world title between EC3, um, Jay Lethal, Matt Taven, and of course Jay Briscoe. Now, each of these guys have been world champion. I don't know if EC3's ever been Ring of Honor champion. I do know he's been with TNA as a world champion himself. So basically, but however, much of the match you see a certain times where EC3 and Jay Briscoe focused on each other while the other two are like, okay, let's just not worry about them. Let's just focus on us. And that kind of went in that direction. But eventually they did come across, pass each other to ensure that no one went, make sure that whoever wins is going to be the one to do it. But we did see EC3 and Jay Briscoe leaving to the back. But however, Matt Taven had an unexpected visitor. Yes, once again, Vincent sent his friend Vita Von Star to distract Matt Taven. You see, the problem is Vince has been believing, saying, "Oh, you've been getting all these, opportunities because people like you. That needs to stop." So he's trying to prove a point, saying that Matt Taven, people need to stop saying no to you. But however, Vincent will not give Matt Taven the one thing he wants. He wants to end it. But no, Vincent doesn't want that. He wants to make a point given, but we'll see how that goes. But the match goes strictly to Jay Lethal. But however, the real question is, can he dethrone Rush? That is one of the questions. But I know for a fact, if Rush was watching, he knows that maybe Jay Lethal may not have a chance. But all we got to do is wait and see what happens. So I think that's it for now. So let's go with Major League Wrestling. All right. So this week's MLW was very interesting. Interesting taking place starting from last week all the way to this week. We did had a very interesting interview with Calvin Tankman that, of course, we all know what happened. He helped Injustice after they were attacked in post-match by Contra Unit. And of course, we all know that sooner or later we may see a match between Calvin Tankman and Jacob Fatu. But of course, we saw Injustice coming out and inviting them to, I'm assuming they're going to take a, blunt or something. But doesn't matter. But it seems like they're hitting off pretty well. It wouldn't surprise me if Calvin Tankman decides to join them. But we'll just wait and see in the upcoming weeks when it happens. Now, once again, we get a part 2 match between Gringo Loco and Gino Medina. Now, Gino Medina has always been what people call him El Intocable, which means the untouchable. Now, Gino Medina is still dealing not only with just Gringo Loco, even though he thinks that he took the name of a tag team name that his father was involved, and of course, someone we all know and love in the wrestling world, Eddie Guerra, who were known as the Gringo Locos back in the day. So, he was really impressive. So, the match was pretty impressive on his part, and he won the match. Now, however, after dealing with Gringo Loco, he did stated that he will be coming for Richard Holiday. So this is a feud that probably we want to see because there's a bit of a friction between both Holiday and Medina. Medina claims that he quit. Holiday claims that he fired him. So basically, like I said, or mentioned a few times, it's more like a he said, she said type of scenario. So we'll just see what happens. Now, Tom Lawler is still dealing with the fallout after what happened in Filthy Island. Basically, what they're saying, he got bankrupt because the Von Erichs crashed his little party. But however, he did stated that he's going to keep an eye on the match that his boy Kevin Koo will be facing off against ACH, which was very simple. Now, as you know, we do have a double champion in MLW, but also he carries the AAA Cruiserweight title. Our current MLW World Middleweight Champion Lio Rush put out an open contract for whoever will challenge him for the title. So, don't know. So, we just wait and see who actually will take an opportunity of that contract. So, now we get to the match that was mentioned. Kevin Koo being accompanied by Dominic Guarini taking on ACH. As you know, this feud between ACH and the Team Filthy, this is because ACH is associated with the Von Erichs. As you guys know, the Von Erichs are in fact Texas boys. ACH is also a Texas boy, and they want to accumulate anybody that relates to Texas. But however, the only thing that kind of fits into the story is, okay, it was revealed Filthy Tom Lawler was responsible for the attack of what happened to ACH, but he wasn't the one with his hands dirty. It was Kevin Koo. But the one thing that kind of played out in this match was the fact that he still has those busted ribs that were damaged before his match against Fatu. So basically it played a factor. But however, the match kind of went overturned when the Von Erichs showed up to give ACH a helping hand. And it did allow for ACH to win the match against a Kevin Koo. But however, this feud between the Von Erichs and ACH against Team Filthy is far, far from over. Now, we were told that next week or the following episode of MLW, we're going to see Bu Kudao taking on his former friend and mentor, TJB, and that's going to be a very interesting match. I can't wait to see how this one's going to go. Can the student beat the master? We'll just wait and see. Now, the next interview we have is Alicia Atu talking to Hammerstone, basically telling them that, of course, that Salina De La Renta believes that his mind is not focused due to the fact that he's still got Contra in his head, but Alex Hammerstone is not worried about that. So that's pretty much it, but of course, Salina De La Renta doesn't believe that. She believes that his mind is still focused on Contra Unit. We haven't seen Matt's crew for a while. But however, she does want to take more gold, so she put out a match between Alex Hammerstone, who is the current MLW National Openweight Champion, against one half of the MLW Tag Team Champions, Los Parks. So that match is the main event, so we'll get to that. Now, as you know, the Los Parks are the current MLW World Tag Team Champions. Apparently, they got a pair of challengers, and those challengers are none other than the Injustice. So they will get their fair chance soon enough for those titles. And of course, as it was later revealed later on in the episode, someone grabbed the open contract. I don't know who, but my money goes on to believe that maybe it's the other son of Los Parks, Hijo del LA Park. That's who I think it is. Now, we do know the next event is coming up. It's called Never Say Never. That one's going to take place on the 31st of March. So, put it on your calendars. Now we get to the main event, which is for the MLW National Openweight title between LA Park and Alex Hammerstone. Now, this was kind of being played in the favor of Salina De La Renta. Apparently, she brought both LA Park's sons to help out. Not only that, they thought, okay, this is going to work in their favor, which it kind of did, but it wasn't that effective. And it played pretty well in the storyline, but however, it did allow for Alex Hammerstone to prove how tough he is, but post-match, he was attacked by a mysterious masked wrestler that was reported it was snooping around, Min Muerte. So he brutalized him. Probably obviously saying, where's Holiday? Well, it turned out that Holiday and Medina were in fact fighting. But it turns out Mil Muertes picked up the national title and gave it to Selena de Renta, gave it to her, selling her because she basically Hammerstone is still the champion, but Selena Renta wanted gold. But now the only way that Hammerstone has to regain that title is to go through another mass wrestler, and that person has to be Mil Muertes. So we just gotta wait and see what happens this coming week, and we'll see what goes on then. So let's move on to WWE NXT UK and 205 Live. Okay, so we got WWE's other shows that we normally don't see on television. We're talking about NXT UK and 205 Live. So let's go with start to finish on NXT UK, then we jump in with 205 Live. It starts out with the opening match in the Heritage Cup rules match between Tyler Bate and Dave Mastiff. Now, keep in mind, Tyler Bate was never involved in the original tournament that they had, the Heritage Cup. And Dave Mastiff was in it, but he lost that match, I think, to Trent Seven, I think. Yeah. But it was a good match, I wasn't entirely sure because, as you know, Tyler Bate had to reflect after losing to his protege, A-Kid. But this time it's like, okay, so he's getting better at the Heritage Cup rule. Now, some of you fans probably saying, why they keep doing this Heritage Cup? That is something in their way, I think that must have happened in their culture. But I have to say, it's kind of similar to we're seeing with Ring of Honor with the pure wrestling rules, and of course NWA with their 7 minute or 6 minute match or whatever. But it's kind of like they have their own ways. But anyway, this match was pretty interesting. I wasn't entirely sure. I think it must have there was no pinfall submissions in the first round. I think the round we had Dave Mastiff. Fourth round it was uh, Tyler Bate, I think, and of course the fifth round was in fact Tyler Bate. Once again, he won the match. It looks like he hasn't missed a step, but we'll see what's going to happen. What is he going to do? Is he going to finally make a play for the NXT UK title? But we'll see from there. Now we had a debut match from a guy coming out of Germany named Tailman. I don't remember his name that he used back then. He was I think he was that one wrestler that I heard about that came from WXW, which means West Side Extreme Wrestling. Um, he was very impressive. His opponent was Danny Jones, but I can tell you just by saying, okay, this is the debut of the guy, he's going to win his match. It's like that. So Tailman actually won his match. Now, at the result of what happened a couple weeks ago with Eddie Dennis and the Hunt, he was not happy with the result that Wild Boar wasn't there in the match. Basically, he was out. As you recall, it was Webster and Andrews that took him out. Eddie Dennis had no other choice but to step in, and they lost miserably. So Wild Boar lived his usefulness and was taken out. And I'm not sure who took his place. I'm not sure if that was T-Bone. So we'll see what that methodical, diabolical Eddie Dennis have in store. Now we get to knowing, as you know, Gallows has been not in the mood. As you know, recently Mark Coffey and Wolfgang lost the NXT Tag Team titles. Joe Coffey has been trying desperately to obtain the NXT UK title, but however, they decide to reflect what they need to do next. I mean, we know they could, start from the ground up and try to rebuild their way, but we'll just wait and see what's going to happen. Now we get to the interesting tag team match. This is between Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan taking on the former NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Mark Andrews and Flash Webster. Now, however, it was revealed that Amir found out what happened the previous week. He tried to talk to him to control his temper and all this other thing. But the real question is, can Kenny Williams control himself? We had to wait and see. It was a good match, but however, he lost control and gave the low blow to I don't remember. I think it was Webster. Amir saw it and he didn't know what to make of it, but it was like a win's a win. But however, Amir did not want to win in that fashion. Now we can see these two could try to get a shot of the tag team titles, but however, there is a scenario that is kind of being played out. What if they broke up? I mean, those are always the possibilities. But we'll just wait and see what they're going to go with it. Now, as you know, recently Trent Seven has been trying to get involved in the NXT Cruiserweight division, but however, he has to lose who knows how many pounds. So there's going to be official weigh-in on the bump, but I don't know what this is going to reflect for him because, as you know, recently it was revealed that Jordan Devlin is on his way to the U.S. to deal once and for all with Santos Escobar, who believes he's the real world champion. But however, in my perspective, Jordan Devlin is the real world champion. Now, you can say, why did I say that? Well, simple. He didn't lose the title. They didn't strip it from him. But this was a match that was inevitable. That was going to happen sooner or later. But we'll see what happens. Now, the latest news came around. As you know, Ben Carter is now the newest sensation in NXT UK. But however, Ben Carter is no longer named anymore. So he now goes by, I think, Nathan Frazier. Now, I don't know how this is going to play out because, as you know, WWE has the tendency to change certain wrestlers' names for something else. I mean, we've seen that on countless times. But we'll see where they're going to go with it. Now we get, for the first time ever, the mixed tag team match between Ginny and Joseph Connors taking on Jake Stars and Piper Nivens. Now, I don't know what to expect. Now, as you know, Ginny and Joseph Connors have cost Piper Nivens 2 opportunities. The NXT UK title and NXT Women's title, and of course, another opportunity, but it didn't happen. So, however, she picked Jake Stars as her partner. And of course, as Ginny and Joseph Connors would say, they're beneath them. But this time, I have to say, I did not expect good teamwork with Jake Stars and Piper Nivens. They played it pretty well. There was a moment where Piper Nivens picked up Connors and slammed him down, and then she did the same thing to Jake. But he was the one who picked up the victory. What does this mean? Could we see a mixed tag teaming in the NXT UK? I'm not sure. But we'll see how it's going to go. Now let's jump in with 205 Live. First match is Bollywood taking on Curt Stallion and Mansoor. Now, it appears that despite of what happened last week, their partnership is put to the test. Curt Stallion and Mansoor. As you know, last week, Mansoor beat Stallion in a very impressive match. Still undefeated, but of course, tensions are rising between both. I mean, in my perspective, in these type of matches, you see Bollywood could take the advantage to win the match. But majority of the time, Mansoor was doing all the work. Curt Stallion wanted to be in that ring, but Mansoor wouldn't tag him. Even when there's moments that he needs to tag him. It didn't happen. Now, you could say it would have been easier for Bollywood boys to win the match, but this time it only ended up with Curt Stallion and Mansoor. But however, Could we see another match between those two? It's possible. But the real question is, when will that happen? I'm not sure. But of course, Everrise were right there. Bollywood doesn't seem like they were surprised to see him, but of course, Everrise realized they made a mistake. They should have not have broken the truce to begin with, but they're still good friends. Now, of course, 205 Live are now yet again are uh, aware of the return of Jordan Devlin, of course, the so-called real champion. But Nigel um, Nigel McGuinness, who's always been a supporter of Santos Escobar, saying that he's done a good job being a much better NXT Cruiserweight champion. But if I were you, Nigel McGuinness, is the old saying with Jordan Devlin: never make a bet against the ace, the Irish ace. I hate to see that. Trust me. Now we get to the main event, which was one of the best main events I've seen so far in 205 Live. We got Ariya Daivari versus August Gray. Now, these two have been going back and forth. As you know, Ariya Daivari is one of the 205 originals, and August Gray is um, the newbies on the block. So basically, it's not only that, but also personal. As you recall, a while ago, August Gray took his gold chain, so that kind of made it personal for him. But I was impressed with the match. Now, I would have assumed at some point we're gonna see Tony Nese interfere in the match, but no. I would have assumed Jake Atlas would be by his side. No, it was just a straight up match, no interference, which was really good. But the real question, who won this one? I was surprised it was the biggest match to see that night, and that was August Gray. I have to say he did a fantastic job. I mean, he is pulling all the stops to be a good competitor. But we'll see what's gonna be foretold for him in the upcoming weeks. But is this feud between the newbies and the originals done? I'm not sure. But for now, I think that's it with this segment. Let's go on to New Japan Strong. Alrighty, so New Japan Strong. We're continuing with the latest tour, Road to Strong Style Evolve, and of course, more qualifying matches for the New Japan Cup USA. Now, before I review the matches, it's still unclear what's going to be the prize. As you know, last year it was for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, but who knows if that's going to be the case. I'm kind of excited to see where we're going to go with it. So, we're going to see who's going to be in the New Japan Cup USA. So, let's review everything from start to finish. First match is a tag team match. We got the Regal Twins, Logan and Sterling, all wearing tattoo shirts, and of course, the ski mask that Brody Lee has been wearing all the time. As you know, recently the Regal Twins were wearing those masks not too long ago. Looks like they found their inspiration. They're taking on this time Adrian Quest and of course Barrett Brown, who we thought he was done, but now it appears like he's back. But however, much of this match is kind of like focused on Barrett Brown's recent attitude where he's trying to make a win, like trying to prove something that this is where he belongs and all that stuff. But of course, he was out of focus. There was a moment where he was about to jump off the ring, but Adrian Crest did it instead. It kind of made him lose focus. He wasn't paying attention. It did allow the Regal Twins to win their match. I mean, they didn't post any post-match interview what happened. Like, what Adrian Quest would have thought. What the hell is your problem? Why did you lose focus? Why are you taking your frustration out on me? We're in the middle of a match. That sort of thing. I'm surprised they didn't do that, which would have fit in perfectly, but no. Now we get to two of the New Japan Cup USA qualifying matches. First one, we got Jordan Clearwater versus Hakuleo. As you know, Hakuleo is a big, big dude and the little brother of Tamatonga and Tagaloa. You can expect with him he could win the match because he's tall, but I have to say Jordan Clearwater did put up a hell of a match against him, but he was still no match for Hikuleo. He won the match and he's in the qualifying. He already qualified to be in the New Japan Cup USA. We'll just wait and see what's going to happen once we start the latest New Japan Cup. Now, the next match, this was another interesting match. We have JR Kratos taking on Fred Rouser. Man, this was also another unbelievable match. You would expect JR Kratos to win this because he's a monster. But you saw Fred Rouser, he put up one hell of a fight. You would expect, oh, he's going to quit easily. But no, he didn't. He didn't do that. But this time, he defeated him. I was very much impressed with the whole thing. Even Fred Rouser tried to do the smart thing. He knows that he can't, if he is unable to beat him in the ring, send him outside the ring and win him in the countout. That was a bit smart match part on his. But man, he actually won the match and he's in the New Japan Cup. But however, his little celebration came up short. It appears someone still has an axe to grind against him, and I'm talking about the previous winner of the qualifier match, Hakuleo. As you know, Hakuleo has one loss, and that person who beat him for that is Fred Rouser, because he grabbed his hair. He used whatever way to win. Of course, but Hakuleo offered it up to JR Kratos as on a platter to get his little payback for losing to him. But he did say that he wants him in the New Japan Cup. Now, are we going to see them in the first rounds? Not sure. Can they meet up somewhere down the middle? Who knows? So I think that's it now for New Japan Strong. So let's give you guys some news updates. Okay, so here's the latest news updates that happened this past week. Last Monday, it was revealed that Andrade decided to request his release from WWE. Now, you ask yourselves, for those WWE fans, why would he request it? As you know, last year he was injured. He is expected to go back, but however, it did stated that he was medically cleared, but apparently, as the same old story that we've been hearing time and time again, the creative team has nothing planned for him. Yes, you heard me correctly. Now, I find that a load of BS. How can you have nothing for him? But it makes sense. But however, Dave Meltzer did report it, what was it, yesterday, that it was denied. So WWE denied Andrade's release, which would have been probably was a bummer for those who would love to see him leave, because we all know how things have been going recently down with WWE. But we just can only hope what he would do. There's a part of me think, okay, he should wait it out as soon as his contract's up. I mean, he can be free from it. Do the same thing what Moxley did. Just don't resign. That's what I would think he would do. But we'll just wait and see. Now, recently this news came around from Wrestling Inc. It was revealed that WWE were trying to file a trademark name, and apparently that name is some name that we know from somebody. we're talking about the name is called Dean Ambrose. So apparently WWE tried to trademark the name, but however, they can't. They were denied. Reason is, as you know, when it comes to the person who used it, we know where that guy is, and we're talking about Jon Moxley. He previously used that name when he was in WWE. Apparently, he's not dead, and all this, and I don't know what else to put out. But if they're going to file his trademark name, they need his consent. Now, the real question is WWE gonna do it? Ask for permission, or the obvious question, will Jon Moxley actually give them permission? I don't know. Some of you probably would say, Moxley, screw W. They don't need they don't need that name. They're just trying to take more money. I would agree with you on that. But we'll just wait and see what WWE is gonna do. I mean, this is kind of really funny, but very interesting at the same time. Now, as you know, this past Wednesday on NXT, we saw the unveilment of the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Now, some of you saying this, like somebody probably would say, why couldn't they present these titles as soon as the Women's Dusty Road Tag Team Classic was over? Or why couldn't they do this beginning? Now, the truth to be told, that was part of the original plan. But however, it was later revealed that the whole tournament was rushed and the titles were rushed, but they were unable to finish it in time. So they were still under the plans of building it, but however, that kind of screwed things up. But however, because of that controversial match that took place between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez taking on the current WWE Women's tag team champions, I'm talking about Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, it kind of fit into the story to introduce, like saying, like you saw how William Regal was upset with Adam Pearce getting involved, trying to make sure that the titles stay in their territory, and then of course playing the story out where how do I say this, um where, okay, I'm gonna right a wrong. It's unfair what they did, so it's like, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. That sort of thing. It kind of fits into the story, but I know there's a lot of people going back and forth talking about this. But all I can say, look, titles are nice. I have to say that the NXT women's division have a great stack of women in the roster. But am I okay with the idea? Yes, because I have a problem with it. Now, this is going to be a discussion that we'll be putting out soon. But for now, let's just move forward. Now, for those who don't know me that very well, you probably know I go to this wrestling show called the Level Up Showcase, which is where this wrestling school that's called Level Up Pro Wrestling School. They showcase many of their wrestlers who are still learning to be in matches. But however, the founder, the director, also a well-known independent wrestling wrestler named B-Boy. But some of you may know him as Bale on Lucha Underground. This past Tuesday, he was on his way to Jacksonville. You probably could guess right now where he was going. Yes, turns out he was going to AEW, but he was not part of the AEW Dynamite show. My presumption, he's probably going to make an appearance on AEW Dark or something like that. But it was later foretold by him on his Twitter something happened. He told that he ruptured or torn his Achilles, which is, the Achilles heel. He did state it in little statement that he felt the pop, but those who know him pretty well, I don't know him that well, but I know his reputation, that he's stubborn. And some point about a minute and a half into the match, it just gave out on him, and it was kind of like whoa. But he was remaining. He still is currently in Jacksonville, but he did had a lot of support from not only people here at home in San Diego, but also those from AEW, including the wrestlers who were there, and of course the people who helped them out are wrestlers we know like Santana, Ortiz, and Kingston. And of course, instead of staying in a hotel, he went to Daly's place, where he was talking to them. Many people approached him, talked to him, which he was getting a lot of good support. But I know some of you would say an Achilles heel is a career ender. We've seen that before. We all know one person who went through that same situation. I'm talking about Edge. But however, B Boy is playing positive on this one. But we'll see what's going to happen. I'm sure he will probably talk to many people more about his thing. But I am keeping updates on him, finding out what he's saying on Twitter. And also, he's still in Jacksonville, but he will be coming back in a couple of days because he needs surgery, and I'm assuming he's gonna take it right here. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if he's gonna take a private plane instead of taking commercial. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see what happens. Hope B Boy actually gets fully recovered once he gets the surgery. But I think that's it for now for all of you. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time on the DWZ channel. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah, and have a nice day. Bang!